man.
Twice girls.
So, hit me, man. What are you talking? Are you doing the topical or exegetical?
It's a topical sermon. My name's Jared Layton, and it's for a Sunday night service.
Right.
And the title is called Holding On.
Great.
Okay, tonight I want to talk about perseverance. That's not a Y, by the way, that's a V. Also, it's known as endurance.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so when most people think of endurance, they think of going to the gym and doing a half-an-hour session, build some muscles. So, I want to ask, did anyone go on the bike ride for charity on Saturday?
I was at the water station.
That's good enough, to the water station. So, most people who go on a 50-kilometre bike ride would train for it. I say most people. I didn't train for it. Instead, I just decided I'll go for it. You know, it'd be like a riding a bike, right? Where you just go and it's nice and easy. You got a nice, easy pace. So, went along. Plenty of people there, even a few kids. So, you know, there's a few kids. You know, it's going to be easy, right? No perseverance needed. So we set off and there's a big group and I was like keeping up with all the group and we get to the river that goes out to Nudgee Beach. We're riding along and I start noticing the group setting back, you know, with the kids and the mountain bikes, and then there's a mountain bike in front of me. I'm like, I'll get past him. Got past him and I see a group in the distance. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be with the kids. So I'll pedal for these guys up here. I'll get my head down. I'll pedal on. I'll set my sights. That's my goal up there. So I'll start pedaling. And as I'm pedaling, I'm like, I'm not reaching these guys. These guys are all in Lycra. You've got the streamline hats on. We're on the road bikes. I'm on a mountain bike. There's no way I'm catching these guys. But I don't want to go with the kids. I want to catch these guys. I pedal and I start pedaling hard and I realise I'm still not catching them. And they turn onto a boardwalk. And as they turn onto a boardwalk, I thought, this is perfect. I'm now going to catch them. This is my opportunity to knuckle down, head down, carry on. It's like a bit like life really, that if you knuckle down, put the hard work in, you're going to reach something, a goal.
Yeah, that's really good.
By the end of the boardwalk, I caught up to them and I stuck behind them. I was riding right up behind them and they were going at a quiet pace as well now. I had a big hat on, I had my shorts, t-shirt, no lycra, and I was on my mountain bike. And halfway through, we get some traffic lights and one of them turns around and goes, are you with us? I'm like, yeah. And all of them turn around and go, wow, you've done well. So we get to the end anyway, and as we're getting up to Morton, riding up, and I must admit I was about 100 yards behind, and I caught up on a very final stretch. Now I was in pain, my muscles had been burning, there was acid going through them, sweat was dripping, and yeah, so I caught up to them, and they were like, you know what, you go and take it. You take it to the finish line. It's kind of like the race of life. It's like in Matthew chapter 26, verse 41, where it says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Now, my flesh was weak throughout that. I pushed. My spirit was willing, so I pushed and pushed and pushed. I made it to that finish line, and I didn't win anything. Nothing at all. But it was the pride. I know it was great. I was like, I'm on a mountain bike, you guys are in Lycra, and I caught up with you, and I stuck with you. Even one of them said to me, he said, you know, we were on that straight, and we were doing 30 k's an hour, and he said, before we totally lost you at that point. There's no way you would have kept up with us. He said he turned round, I was right behind him.
Wow, come on.
Perseverance right there for you.
Right.
Good.
Takes me to Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run the race with perseverance, the race marked out for us. Let's face it, being a Christian is hard work.
Yeah.
And I mean a lot of hard work. Everyone thinks it's easy, it's not. We have to give up our sinful pleasures that get us in the way of us being close to God. We need to run the race of life with endurance so we can battle our way through the trials and challenges and focus on Jesus.
Great.
If we stumble, if we look away, we will stumble
Yeah.
and we'll lose that focus. We must keep our eyes on Jesus as our main focus.
Great.
Perseverance is key. Now, perseverance, as I look at that word and I look at the Bible, I look at the ultimate story of perseverance. That ultimate perseverance story is of Job.
Yeah.
Job was a faithful, blameless, and upright man. He was a true servant of God. Satan wanted to prove that he could break a man's will. Now, Satan had to ask God for permission to break his will. Can you imagine? That shows how small Satan is. That he's tiny, he's down here. He's like, Lord, please can I break his will? And God said, you know, you can have a go, but do not kill him. You're not allowed to kill him. And then one day, so Job was a righteous man. He had a lot of wealth, he had a lot of livestock, he had a wife, and he had 10 kids. So he had everything. He had the joys of life, if you like. And then one day, everything was taken away from him. And I'm not talking just material things. Could you imagine having 10 kids and all the 10 kids being taken away from you? I've not got kids, I can't imagine. I try to imagine what it's like, but it's pretty hard to lose someone that is close to me, like say like my mum. So that would be hard. So Job still praised God after all that. Now for someone to even praise God just after that is beyond belief. So Satan then inflicted terrible sores all over Job. So not only did he have this pain on the inside that was killing him, he had all the pain on the outside. So he couldn't get away from the pain. Yet Job still praised God. Unreal.
Yeah.
3 friends came round, and as friends do, they were grieving with Job. You know, that's good friends if you ask me, they were grieving with him. But then they're like, you know, Job, you must have done something sinful in the past. You must have. For you to go through all of this, God must be punishing you for something. He's like, no, I've been faithful all my life. And he was still showing his praise to God. Praise eventually turned to bitterness and anger. And then in Job 38, we see, in fact, God finally spoke out. Now, you can imagine Job stood there, this mighty storm coming round him, and there was rolling thunder, God's voice coming down. Job fell to his knees in humble reverence and fell speechless. You can imagine how you would be if you heard that from God, his voice.
Yeah.
God restored Job to happiness, wealth, twice as much. So, you know, he enjoyed everything. And through everything, God replenished him, and he did it twice as much. He also had another 10 kids. So he'll have 20 kids in heaven now. He even lived for another 440 years after that, so he had a long and prosperous life afterwards. you think that you could do what Job did?
No.
It's pretty much impossible when we look at that today. We all have a calling on our life. Some of us more than others. Now, when that storm comes, you've got to hold on tight. You have to hold on extremely tight when that storm comes. Because we all face trials and challenges. Now, when we're holding on, we can identify with Christ. Christ who suffered on the cross for us so that we can live. This is the race of life. We have to run it with endurance to the end.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well done, Bill.
Man, I didn't see that coming.